Hey everybody, it's Jeff Antoniuk. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're live on Facebook and always archiving these on the YouTube channel at Jeff Antoniuk Educator. So you can find this and all the other preceding and following videos. So this is Advanced Jazz Learning Techniques video number 3, 50-50 practice. And I tell you what, we are going to get to that, but before we do that, I want to do something, talk about something that I think may be more important than that even, and maybe one of the most important things I talk about for this whole series. So this video series is aimed towards professionals like myself who are doing jazz education, whether that's private lessons or whatever, whether you're a college teacher, university teacher, whatever it is. And I want to suggest a huge paradigm shift. It sort of occurred to me that all of us think about teaching in general. We happen to be talking about jazz here. We think about teaching in a particular way. There's this real, we sort of have our blinders on, not a bad thing. And I want to see if I can shake things up a little bit and offer a bit of a paradigm shift, or at least let you know where I'm coming from and how I run my business. So what I would ask you is, what is your metric of success? In other words, how do you judge the job you have done? How do you judge the progress of your students? And, you know, we don't really think about that. It's kind of obvious, right? If Joey can play, better next month than he's playing today, I guess things are going right. If so-and-so graduated in 4 years, I guess I'm doing a good job. So that's exactly the paradigm that I operated in for a long time. I did, I guess, 6 years of college up in Canada where I'm from, and then down at North Texas. Amazing teachers, amazing programs. I wouldn't trade any of it. The thousands of private lessons I've had have all been with that sort of metric of success. So-and-so is better later from now. So what I'm here to tell you is that's not my metric of success in my business. My metric is, did I change your life? So that's a little different, right? And it's pretty big and it's pretty lofty, except I do that. I've seen that happen a lot with my students over the years. So that is what is important to me. Turns out that people are changing their lives by playing better and all that kind of stuff. So, but I hope you get a lot out of all the techniques that I'm offering. Of course, that's part of it, but that's not my metric of success. I want people to be transformed by what we do together. So that's a different way of thinking about it. So as you watch these videos, as you listen to things I'm talking about transformation, not just a cool technique that might get you a little bit better. So that's how I want you to think about it, and I'm going to challenge you, with a couple other ideas. So, I think that'll be our point of departure. Now, what does that mean to transform somebody? So a lot of the teaching that I've been doing for the last 15 years is working with adult amateurs. Now, at the same time, I've worked with kids in DC public schools. I taught at Towson University. I've done plenty of other stuff. But working with adult amateur musicians. So these are folks with day jobs who are some really good players, semi-pros, and some folks, out there on the weekend, making money doing this stuff. I put together group ensembles that meet twice a month with these people. These are jazz small groups that meet twice a month. Now, you may think this is sounding a little familiar. The community college in my town does this. I'm here to say they don't do this, I don't think. I've been investigating this for years. The community college, nothing against community colleges. The community college maybe offers a 4-week outreach program, or maybe a semester. Are you going to be transformed in 8 weeks? Probably not. Are you going to be all these are schools, right? A school of music, a jazz academy, those sort of things. And they all have this built-in ending. If you're a fanatic about music, I don't want jazz to end. I don't want the Jazz Update, my professional band, to end. I don't want the gig I'm on to end. Yet all of our teaching has these ends built in. That's no good. So my teaching does not have that built in. My business is an ongoing thing. I have students that are with me on average, I think it's 4 or 5 years, but many, I'm talking about many students have been with me for 10 or 15 years. They don't have any plans to go anywhere. That's how I teach, is to keep these people excited about coming back, right? So that's a little different than, I'm going to teach the half-whole diminished scale next week. I will do that, but that's not it. So this is a really big paradigm shift. I'm not sure if you've ever thought about it this way, anyone's talked to you this way about it. I'm here to say that it's a very powerful way to think about things. So I do this teaching, as I said, Washington, D.C. area, working with these adult students. It's an amazingly fun business. I love it, and I literally get to see people transformed pretty much day in, day out. So because of this, I want to spread this idea around the country, and there's only one of me. People from these videos are calling me for Skype lessons. That's awesome. I mean, if I can fit it in, I'll do it, absolutely. But that's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to hustle some Skype lessons from people. What I want to do is get jazz professionals like me around the country to start offering this kind of business for all the people around here. So this is called jazz teacher training. So if this rings a bell for you, if looking at teaching in a really different way resonates with you, and it sounds like it might be rewarding, which it's incredibly rewarding, please give me a call or look at jazzteachertraining.com. And I'll tell you right now, I've working this week with Russ Nolan. Russ is a fabulous, fabulous tenor sax player. We have a gig tonight. Russ is from New York City. He's on the Downbeat Rising Star list each time around. And so he's launching his business in New York City. So if you're hearing me in New York City and you may want this experience, if you're an adult musician who can't find a place to play, can't find people to commit to getting together, and can't get any good, coherent knowledge, give Russ a call. So you can find him at Jazz Lab NY, and that's his business. And so he, like me, believes in the transformative nature of how we can teach this stuff, not just handing out information. I'm giving you information today for free, right? You don't need to pay for that. It's not the information, it's the ability to be transformed. And Paul Bangzer, another great guitarist here in the DC area who studied with me, he opened his business about a month ago in Bethesda, Maryland. And that happens to be jazzlabbethesda.com. And so if you're hearing this and this sounds interesting to you as a student, you can contact these guys. And we're spreading around the country, and there's going to be more and more to offer people. So I wanted you to understand where I'm coming from as an educator, where I see this business being and the opportunity that's out there, not only for jazz professionals to think and to teach in a different way and with a different business model, but also for the students out there, these adult musicians who don't have a great place to go to play and be informed and be inspired and be transformed. There you go. So that's what I wanted to offer. It may sound a little crazy. That's all right. That's what a paradigm shift is. So I hope that's interesting to you. And as always, I love the comments and questions and rebuttals and everything else. So keep them flying. By the way, you can get in touch with me at jeffantoniuk@gmail.com. So let's dig into 50-50 practice. So over the years, I, like probably you, very good jazz teacher, have gotten the question, or you've asked yourself, like, how do I divide up my practice time? I've had guys show up with spreadsheets with like 17 different categories. There's scales and there's arpeggios and there's, right, we can drive ourselves nuts. And we've all, but just last night I was having a conversation of a year or two of my practice time at North Texas wasted by sort of, working too much on this when I should have been working on that. It's a crazy making thing, and the sad part is it gets people paralyzed. Or, paralyzed at worst, sometimes at best just spinning our wheels, doing the same thing over and over, not getting better. It's an important thing to think about. So, like so many of my concepts, I'm into setting up binary situations, this or that, black or white, like that kind of stuff. You'll see more of that in the upcoming videos. You've seen some of it already. So, let me ask you a question. So when you pick up your instrument, when you sit down at your instrument, what is the first thing you do? Are you someone that plays scales and patterns and circle of fourths and works with inversions and all that stuff on one side of the spectrum? Or are you someone who plays a song and plays music on that side of the spectrum? Now, some of you may be saying, I'm in the middle, and that's fabulous. That's where we want to be, I would say. But in your heart of hearts, like really think about it. Which is the one that you gravitate towards? It's going to be an important answer. So for me, when I pick up my horn, it never occurs to me to play music, which sounds insane every time I say it out loud. So I'm playing scales, and I'm working on my evenness and my tone, and I got the circle of fourths and my minor third root motion, and I'm all that kind of stuff. And so to me, that's an intellectual approach. And that's not to say I'm an intellectual and that's good. It means that's how I'm wired. Every male in my family was a scientist or an engineer. So that's my wiring. My wiring is I like to take things and pile them up in interesting ways. Sound, right? And so somebody else, that it doesn't occur to them. They're, let's call it a more intuitive side. And this is also left brain, right brain, right? Another way to put it. So on this spectrum, now I've taught, I added it up one time, 500 students over the years and many, many more in these groups. And most people, when I set up this spectrum, most people start nodding their head like, oh yeah, that's me, or oh yeah, that's me. So see if you can figure out which you are or which you were. Now, I was the overly intellectual side. I've spent a lot of years getting to the middle of the spectrum. So that's what we're going to talk about today. So that's sort of the setup to the whole thing. So my biggest leap came when I painfully stopped doing what was natural, which was all this practice kind of practice, and when I just started playing and memorizing tunes. For me, that was a huge jump forward because I started addressing this big blind spot in my practice. So here's the 50-50 practice. Which one are you? Tell me today, you decide. So for me, I'm far, far more, even to this day, when I pick up my horn, an hour will go by and I haven't played any music. I've played things that are about music, right? So for me, I really have to stop myself to play a song, right? So when I pick up my horn, I'm going to play the bebop scale. Okay, more even. Or a pattern, etc., etc. So that's the kind of stuff that tickles my brain, that makes sense to me. What I need to do, well, okay, what I need to do is balance that, okay? So to play a tune, it could happen to you. Etc., etc. So I want you to decide which one of those people you are. And if you have an hour to practice today, set a timer for 30 minutes. Here's the thing. Do whatever is the most comfortable. So if you're somebody that loves playing music, great, play for 30 minutes. Do not be apologetic because that is your strength. I want you to develop your strength. But when your timer goes off, ding, 30 minutes later, and you're in the middle of a tune, you stop. Or when I'm in the middle of the circle of fourths and I haven't completed it, like I'm not that OCD a guy, but maybe I am. Because, wow, I really want to finish what I'm doing. Don't. Stop and go do the other thing. So for me, if I have an hour to practice, I'm going to do my thing of, you know, all the arpeggios, blah, blah, blah. You get what I'm talking about. Then I need to stop and play a song for 30 minutes. Here's the insane thing. I feel like I'm wasting my time doing that. That's nuts, right? But that's how I'm wired. So think about it like with golf, an analogy like that. Somebody who, you know, on my end, I would be the guy that goes to the driving range and just is whacking balls and trying to hit that little pin 312 yards out there and, you know, just all that precision kind of stuff, the intellectual stuff, working on my grip. But I'm not playing the game of golf. I don't know how to golf. I know how to whack a ball 312 yards, right? Or, on the other side, somebody who loves to golf but never practices. So they're going to get worse and worse and worse as they drill in their bad habits playing the game, but not addressing their grip and all that stuff. So it's that simple. It's crazy simple, right? But that is the most important thing you can do with your practice time is divide it half and half. Identify kind of how you are wired. Do not apologize for it. Embrace it and develop that because that is your strength. But then you have to look at the other side. where maybe there's some atrophied muscles, or where you've been ignoring that uncomfortable stuff, or that thing you just don't seem to have time to get to when your practice time is up. So that's the idea. It couldn't be simpler. But again, these binary situations that I like, this or that, 50-50, it cuts all the clutter and all the BS out of figuring out which of these 17 things on the spreadsheet. Don't even worry about that stuff. If you do this one thing in your practice, like I've seen people in 2 weeks be sounding like different people because they're really, really playing in a different way. And so, to kind of bring everything full circle, this is just a teaching technique, right? But for me, this is a way I know I can help transform somebody. By the way, this exercise doesn't end in 4 weeks or in 8 weeks like, the Jazz Academy down the street. This is ongoing. And so when I have exercises like this that I show my students, week in, week out, they keep coming back, right? Now this is what I do for a living. I'm not going to apologize for making money. So I want my students to come back. Now, if you're in a business and your students keep turning over every 6 months or every 2 years, there's another way to do it. That's a lot better. It's better for the students because you're transforming their lives. It's better for your business too, right? So we're teachers talking to each other, so it's great that we're talking about pedagogy, but I want you to understand how I operate my business and how I can help you operate yours too. So check this information out. I hope you enjoy it. As you may know, we have a PDF booklet that goes along with these 10 or 12 videos that we're doing in the Advanced Jazz Learning Techniques series. So send me an email at jeffantoniuk@gmail.com and I'll send you the PDF. I think it'll help you get deeper into the information. And I hope this discussion today about this paradigm shift, about what education in general can be, in my mind, should be. And if this resonates with you, we need to talk. I want to have you on this team and doing some of this great work around the country. So thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And tune in for the next video next week. Take care.